Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Report. Gary Patterson and I are here to bring you our opinions on what's going on and analyze what's happening.
Yeah.
And before we get going, Gary, the number one story, the World Series.
Oh, it's been phenomenal. So we're filming this on the Game 7 is tonight.
Of the Game 7.
Yeah. And after coming off last night with all the controversy and that play at first base up the line, and it's been a heck of a series.
Well, guess what? For all you gamblers, there's no line on tonight's game.
Really?
Yeah. I guess we're not exactly sure who's going to be pitching.
Yeah. The assumption at the end of the game was it would be Scherzer for the Nationals, but who knows, right? Depends how he wakes up this morning.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's Anibal Sanchez's turn.
Is penciled in.
Yeah.
But I think if Scherzer's ready to go.
Because he faced Greinke in the third game.
Yeah. Or you could see him come in the third inning or something, you know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they started Sanchez with Scherzer in the bullpen, first man up.
Getting loose, yeah.
Because if they can get 4 innings out of Sanchez,
right.
I mean, he can't throw hard anymore. But he has totally remade himself into a breaking ball pitcher and a control pitcher.
So I'm not bought into Greinke. I've never really been bought into Greinke in pressure situations, right? That was, back in the day, that was the book on him.
Absolutely.
You didn't want him in New York or Boston.
I read a piece on him just the other day, and he still has anxiety, severe anxiety.
Yep.
Actually, the story was about his interview that he did. First time in a long time he sat down and talked to anybody. And he was very, very nervous, and he actually talked about his anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's real.
It's real, and it's something I don't know if I want my pitcher going into Game 7.
Well, that's it. You might be a lot better off with him in the bullpen, too.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But he's making a lot of money for a Zach Greinke, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I think they overpaid for him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he's been overpaid
Way
for a
overpaid.
while. And, you know, he's okay when he's pitching in Arizona or
there's nobody there.
Off the radar,
they don't have any press that covers the games.
Yeah. But, you know, in the bright spotlight.
How about Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Or New York?
Yeah.
Or Boston?
And he hasn't looked good in the postseason. So,
you know, he's a great pitcher.
Oh, he's a great pitcher. But
is
he a big game pitcher?
He's not. No, he's not.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
So he'll get you there.
Yep.
But can he get you over the line? I don't know.
So who are you picking tonight?
As we sit here, I'm going to go for it and say that the visiting team is going to win all 7 games of this series. It's going to go down in history, which it already has for the first 6 games being won by the visiting team.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
It's never happened before in the World Series. Never happened in any sport in any series.
And you're going to call it, huh?
What the heck? I've been wrong before.
I'm sticking with Houston.
Yeah, Houston's the favorite, but
100. Put up 138 to make 100.
Yeah. So, but the Nationals, you know, I keep waiting for them to fall out of the playoffs. I thought they were going to lose the wild card game, for crying out loud. And they won that. And there's no way I thought they'd beat the Dodgers. They beat the Dodgers. You know, I mean, they're on a roll.
They are. Well, they got momentum.
They got
no
momentum.
Question. And well, time will tell.
Time will tell, and everybody watching this already knows what happened.
Yeah. Oh, you crazy bunch of people.
Yeah.
They know, we don't. Oh, man.
So one of us was right and one of us was wrong.
There you go. Gary, I got so much to talk about.
All right. Let's get started.
First of all, Ted Green. Terrible Ted Green, number 6 for the Bruins, passed away.
Yeah, it's a shame.
At the age of 79, I believe.
79?
Yeah. Teddy was a tough guy.
He really was.
And he was one of the dirtiest players I think that ever played.
That's the way the league was then.
Yeah,
though.
it was.
You're right. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, I see.
he was a dirty player, but he wasn't the dirtiest.
No, no, but he was.
those
He was
days.
up there.
Oh, he was up
there.
there. And he ended up getting his skull crushed in.
Yeah, that's
But-
right. That was almost bound to be. I mean,
Yeah.
live by the sword, die by the sword.
and of
I saw
course,
him
Nobody
beat.
wore helmets in those days.
I saw him beat a guy unconscious
Yeah.
in the Boston Garden. They left him alone. The linesman didn't interfere. He sat on him and just kept on
Pummeled
punching him in the face.
Yeah.
And when it was all over, the guy never moved.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a little guy that never fought.
Right.
But boy, he just did that, you know?
Terrible Teddy.
Terrible Teddy. Terrible Teddy. Was a good hockey player, too. And if he had been able to curtail some of the rough stuff,
Right.
he was a decent hockey player.
Right.
But
And every team had a clear-cut enforcer in those days.
Ted Lindsay for Detroit.
Yeah.
Man,
And
alive.
Ted Green was the enforcer. I mean,
That's
if
right.
you wanted to make a run at one of the premier players, you had to go through Ted Green.
Yep. Yep. And
And that wasn't easy.
no, and every team had one.
Yeah.
Montreal, the most skilled team in the league, they had Butch Bouchard.
Yeah.
You didn't mess with him.
Right.
It was a different league then.
It was.
Although, last night, Brother Chara was interested in headhunting, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I didn't see too much of the game last night. It was,
Man, he was after, number 20. If you ever caught him, he would have killed him.
yeah.
But anywho, yeah, I watched most of the hockey game last night.
Yeah. Well, the Bruins. I was fortunate. I was flipping over, and every time I flipped over, I saw them score a goal. It was unbelievable. I was on a roll. Good win for them. They're off to a good start, right? 9-1-2.
One of the only drawbacks with Roku is it's not really set up for flipping channels back
Yeah.
and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, you got
You got to
Roku?
go
Yeah.
through some rigmarole.
Yeah.
So I just say to hell with it. I just don't do it. But I'm saving $10 a month. Because the first box is $2.40, I think, with Comcast.
Yeah.
Your second box is $10.
Yeah.
And each subsequent one is $10. So
Yeah,
I
tell me
returned
about it.
mine, and for $30 I bought a Roku, and the Roku will be paid for in 3 months worth of savings.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
And you get pretty much everything.
More than everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some extra stuff in there I wasn't planning on getting.
Huh.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what it does, it picks up the feed from your downstairs TV. You pick up the streaming of Comcast to your TV set, and it pulls it upstairs.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, but the setup is different on the remote control.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little funky.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll put up with it.
Right.
I mean, I only watch like 4 channels anyway.
Right. Right.
And Patrick said the next time he comes over, he's teaching me just piece by piece.
Sure.
He's going to show me favorite channels.
Ah.
And we're going to put my 5 or 6 or 7 favorite channels in. He's going to show me how to go to that box and then hit one.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to enjoy this.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, report back to us.
I will do that.
Yeah.
Quote from Bob Cousy. In the next life, I'll do email and I'll be able to dunk. I thought that was good.
Cruz has got to be getting up there.
90.
90?
I'm reading his book. Sad.
Really?
Yeah. Very maudlin. Now, granted, I'm only a couple of chapters in, but it's going to get better, or else it's going to go back to the library.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It's a guilt trip that he's put himself on over his inability to be friends with Bill Russell on the team. And he's tried for years to apologize to Russell, and Russell will not accept his apology.
Oh, really?
And won't speak to him.
Won't speak to him?
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, I'll probably go through it just to find out what happens. But
Wow, I wasn't aware of that
yeah.
friction between them.
yeah, I had a Cousy had a strange home life too, with his mother and father.
Huh.
Spouse beating was a sport back in those days,
Oh.
but it was the other way around.
Oh,
His
no kidding.
mother used to beat his father,
No kidding.
and the father would just stoically sit there and take it.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
I'll fill you in on it next time
Yeah.
around. But it's The League, and it's by John Eisenberg. I have the copy in my car, and I'm going to return it over to the library. If you want to go over and get it
Huh. Good book, huh?
at the same time, well worth reading.
Interesting. Perhaps I'll do that.
You only get 2 weeks, but I read it in 2 days, I think. Again, it's not a work of drama.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Or a documentary type.
yes,
Here's
yeah,
what happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
But-
That'd be interesting.
Fascinating though. Some of the things that happened.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Josh Gordon.
Yeah. See you later, I guess.
Somehow I think he deserved better. I hope and pray he doesn't slip back into the darkness. But such is the state of football when you are no longer productive or are damaged goods. You're cast aside. It can be a cold, hard, brutal business with little or no room for sentiment. Yet, there is another side to this coin. We're all responsible for our actions, and while a lot of sentiment is expressed about the poor soul who finds him or her self addicted to the scourge of drugs, alcohol, tobacco, et al., we must also face the fact that no one forced these people into these disastrous life paths. No one picked them up and put their foot into a trap, ensnaring them into the disasters their lives have become. The knife cuts in both directions.
Yeah, it's true. I, have to walk a mile in his shoes. You
That's
just
it.
never know where
You
some of
never
these
know
kids
where, but
get out. Where
Yep.
they come from is
yep.
something that we can't even imagine.
But then there are others that
Rise
come
above.
from
Yeah.
terrific homes and they
Yeah.
make bad decisions. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. I was watching a little bit, flipping back and forth with the Monday Night Football game last night. They were talking about Brian Flores and how he came out of Brooklyn, I think it was, out of the projects, and he made his way out to great success. So
The ones that can rise above it, though, are few and far between. Now, granted, they're getting more of them are able to make the move because they have role models
Right.
they can follow. But as you can see, I'm frustrated by not having an editorial to write from time to time here. Michael Bennett, a superb football player who, like his brother, seems to have a problem with saying the wrong thing at the wrong time in the wrong venue. We have freedom of choice and freedom of expression, however. We must accept the consequences when we wander off the reservation of our own accord by saying and doing things intemperately. The Patriots wisely, in his case, and I shall not waste any sympathy on Mr. Bennett, the Patriots acted wisely in his case, and I shall not waste any sympathy on Mr. Bennett. There are legions of people more entitled to my sorrowful support.
yeah, well, he's like his brother.
Making
they're-
big money and they
yeah.
get big mouths.
Yeah,
Yeah. And, they're making their bed. Well, let them lie in it.
yeah. And I think they're in the case of those two, I think they're fine with that.
That's the funny part about it.
Right?
They are.
They're okay.
Yeah.
They don't have a problem
Yep.
with that.
But, and Muhammad Sanu, welcome aboard. It's good to see you. You're a potentially valuable addition to the team. Stay healthy and productive. And one other thought. He is under contract for next year.
He is.
Also for a reasonable stipend.
Right.
I think that was a good pickup.
Yeah, I do too. I like him, and he can play the slot more than outside. But did you happen to see the video? There was a video, I think it came from YouTube, of him at practice early in the year. And practice was over, and he was out with just a handful of players, and they put the ball on the 50-yard line, and he kicked it right through the uprights. A 60-yard field goal. He kicked Sanu kicked a 60-yard field goal in practice. In addition to the fact that he has a perfect passer rating. He's seven for 8 in his career passing for like 5 touchdowns. So Bill's kind of guy, right?
What?
Very athletic, can do all kinds of different things. I mean, if they needed an emergency kicker, he's your guy.
And guess what? He can block too.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a willing participant.
So I like the fact that they, a second-round pick was a little high, perhaps. But the fact that he's signed for next year, it makes it fine with me.
It does. It
know,
makes
if it
it
was
fine with me, too.
If it was a rental for the rest of the year for a second, I don't know if I'd like it as much. But
I wouldn't like it.
yeah, but I like it.
I like it. Yep. I'll bore you with one more.
Okay.
Chaim Bloom. Welcome aboard also. Yours is a simple and straightforward task. All you have to do is be the savior of the Boston Red Sox and erase the sins and mistakes of the past. Redo the roster, the farm system, be the face of the Red Sox in all matters large and small, and figure out how to add about 8,000 more seats at the antiquated place we used to refer to as Yorkie's Ball Yard. Of course, that was before John Henry found himself unable to sleep, bedeviled by ghosts, and in a fit of political correctness, banned the name Yorkie from ever being spoken again in Red Sox Nation. So there you go, buckaroo. Saddle the beast, tame it, and ride it.
Yeah.
Good luck, and be comforted to know we'll all be watching, especially the acid-tongued denizens who man the phones on sports talk radio, along with those that prowl about on all forms of social media. Oh, and one last request. Since you're being cast into the role of miracle maker, will you please in your spare time solve the massive traffic congestion that plagues the hub of the universe?
Yeah.
An easy enough job.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's perhaps a little hyperbole in there, but I'm telling you something. He's got a lot on his plate.
He does. He does. And we'll see how he does. I like the hire. I mean, I think, from what you hear, he's a bright guy. He worked his way up. The Tampa Bay model is a pretty good model to have a farm system constantly pumping out talent. And he'll have if you can take that part of what they do in Tampa Bay and get it, and it's going to take him, that takes 2 or 3 or 4 years. But you have to be able to feed your team through your system. And then you've got the resources to do what you need to do with the J.D. Martinez's of the world. But he's inheriting a mess.
He really
is inheriting a mess.
And you've got an owner who doesn't really communicate.
Right.
He's more interested in his soccer team, it seems.
So he's coming from a team that had a $65 million payroll to a team that between Sale, Price, and Evaldi, there's $80 million just for the 3 of them. And all 3 of them are major question marks. He's got an ownership that continues. I mean, just as we're finally getting rid of the Pablo Sandoval contract, we've got the Dustin Pedroia contract, the Rusty Castillo contract still hanging over our heads for Castillo, I think, for 1 year, Pedroia for 2. So there's nothing you can do about that, but yet they continue to do it. Now they're just beginning the Chris Sale 5-year, $150 million contract, and that's going to be another disaster contract. If you tried to give Chris Sale away right now with that contract, I don't think you could.
Tell me something.
Who's going to take that contract, even if they don't have to give anything up?
No one.
Right?
No one. I don't think there's a gambler in Major League Baseball that would take
that contract. which means you're stuck with it, and you're stuck with Price. And, now if Evaldi really pitches well, could you possibly move him? You possibly could.
Possible.
At 18, maybe,
Maybe if you kicked a prospect in with
Yeah,
him or something.
but
yeah. Or
he's
if he's
boxed
really
in
doing
in
well,
a lot
maybe
of
you want to
ways.
hold him.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got to, and obviously, as we talk about every time we bring up this subject, Mookie's front and center, and I just don't think there's any way they can sign Mookie. I think he has to go.
I think you're right. Well, it's either that or JD. Now, the story in the paper of the smart guys that call into
Yeah.
Glenn Ordway, they're convinced he's gone.
Yeah, I am too.
Well,
It's a
then
question
that
of what
case,
can you get for him.
in that case, you can possibly find a way to sign Mookie.
Maybe. It's going to be tough.
Oh, it's going to be tough.
Now, if you defer the money out a little bit so that it really kicks in when Castillo and Pedroia come off the books over the next 2 years, maybe you could work that out.
If you ramp the money up.
Yeah,
So
he'd
that
have
you-
to be relatively low in the first year, relatively
well,
low,
yeah.
30 million. And then it jumps up to 40, 45
Even
once
if
those
you
guys
could get
come.
it down
But-
to 20 million the first couple of years, and
Right.
then up to 30 for a couple of years, then up to 40 for a couple of years,
Yeah.
maybe you could live with this.
So,
But the question is he willing to? But you know what?
but
When
if I
look at
was
the
if
whole
I was
thing-
if I was in Heim's chair right now, I'd be asking myself, even if he's willing to do that, are we willing to do that? I love Mookie Betts. Who doesn't love Mookie Betts?
That's right.
Okay, but are you really going to make an 8-year commitment to the guy at an average annual value of 35 to 40 million?
based on 297
I mean, you
last
saw
year,
2
and-
years ago we saw what might very well be his career year.
That's right. That's right.
That might
like
be the
Freddie
best
Lynn,
year
like
he
Nomar
ever had.
Garcia-Parra,
Yeah,
the fantastic year, and then come back
right.
to earth.
And in 3 or 4 years, are you paying $40 million for a guy who's hitting 275 with 25 homers? Because if you are, you're overpaying.
That's right, because there's a lot of guys that can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, depending on what the numbers are, but I personally am almost at the point of saying, I don't know if you want to sign him.
What can we get?
And if you don't want to sign him, then you got to move him.
What
Should have
can-
moved him last winter when
Yep.
you really could have
Yep.
gotten a package.
What can we get from?
I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, I think you got to start by going to teams that have a lot of money, and the hope that they will be able to re-sign him to a long-term deal. So you're
So-
talking about iconic franchises. Maybe the Dodgers. Maybe the Phillies.
Atlanta Braves,
Atlanta Braves. Maybe the Mets. Maybe
Chicago White Sox.
Chicago White Sox could be interested. They got and they got a lot of young talent.
They do. They do.
We get Moncada back.
Well, now I was going to ask you. Let's flash back to the future. If you could redo that deal,
The sale deal?
Yeah.
Oh, I would reverse it in a second.
we gave an awful lot with
We did.
Moncada.
Moncada's an all-star caliber player
No
right
question.
now.
No question. He's
Right
going
now.
to be for
He
the
had a
next
great
15
year.
years.
He had a great year. And
Yep.
he's what, 22, 23?
Yeah. Yeah, same age as.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, I think is 1 year younger.
I mean, I think that was a factor in why ownership wanted to extend Sale, because if Sale walks away, and over the next 3 to 5 years, which it looks like Moncada is going to become a star, an all-star player. And Kopech, and I don't know, he's coming back, right? He had Tommy John, so he's down for a while.
Sometimes they come back stronger.
Sometimes they come back stronger.
Yeah.
But I think that was part of the thinking is, if we let Sale just walk away, we traded these two young supreme talents for nothing. Now, that said, Chris Sale was on the mound to get the last out to win the World Series, right?
That's right.
So you won a World Series, but
Was it worth it?
long.
I
well,
say no.
yeah, perhaps not.
And when I talked about the sins of the past, David Price,
Yeah,
Hanley Ramirez, Pablo Sandoval, Nathan Evaldi, Chris Sale,
Rusty Castillo.
Stephen Pierce, hanging on to Sandy Leone, hanging on to Eduardo Nunez.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, these are serious mistakes.
Right.
Now, the one the one I will
Never
forgive
mind
him
extending Pedroia when
Well,
when they didn't have to.
But they
didn't
did
have
it
to.
when he was healthy, and they wanted him under control. They didn't want him to have another big year and start asking for $20 million.
But that's the problem.
Yeah.
With this team.
Yeah.
That's what that list is.
Yeah.
You know, people that they had a good year. We better lock them up because what happens if we lose them? Well, if you
Only-
lose them, you go get somebody else. That's what happens.
Only one I forgive them on is Stephen Pierce. He
I don't
was
even-
in the
no.
afterglow of the World Series, and they signed him for what he was making. A happy moment.
But it's hard to look at that at Pierce and Evaldi and know that for the same money, the Yankees signed Ottavino and Zach Britton.
Zach Britton, yeah.
If you had those two guys in the bullpen this year,
Oh,
you would have been in the playoffs.
would have been
probably.
a totally different
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
Yeah. And Evaldi gave you nothing,
Nothing.
right? So
Essentially, nothing.
So, if he bounces back next year, great. But what are you sitting here confident he's going to
No,
bounce back?
not at all.
Right.
No. He's hot and cold.
He may be a bullpen guy, and he might be a good bullpen guy.
$18 million
You paid him $18
worth?
million.
Yeah.
Those two guys I mentioned with the Yankees are making about $8,
Yeah.
right? So you could have had them both.
Yeah,
for
the
what-
8-3s are 24. I think one of them signed for 27 over
Yeah.
3, and the other one was like 24 and a half or 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got one more mini little thought. Brian O'Halloran is made general manager of the Boston Red Sox. That's a headline that never appeared in print or on the airwaves, and that was because Bloom's coronation sucked all the air out of the room. It'll be interesting to see what BOH's role will be, what with the lofty role and the myriad tasks assigned to the head of baseball operations. Let's hope there's a few tasks left over for Brother O'Halloran.
Well, this is kind of the Theo model,
Yep.
right? With the Cubs. Theo has a general manager reporting to him, but he's obviously involved with every decision. And the difference here is for O'Halloran is now you're going to have Heim, and you're also going to have Sam Kennedy.
That's
you have to go
exactly
through
right.
both of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
It appears.
And Sam Kennedy
to
is
do
going to
anything.
represent ownership.
Right.
So you've got
And
above.
he's the numbers guy, though,
Yeah.
so maybe he'll bring some sanity to it. I don't know.
So you got a general
But it's a
manager
bureaucracy.
that has to report to the director of baseball operations, who has to report to ownership before he can get anything done.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
Amazingly,
But it's very doable, and the thing for this guy is, yeah, you got issues, yeah, you got problems, but you also have resources, right? He has never operated with real resources.
with money.
Yeah. And so it'll be interesting.
It's going to be
You
very
know,
interesting.
if he-
Is right.
I'm expecting him to bring a real player development component to the system, because if they could really excel at player development, you're all set,
Sky's the
because you've
limit
got the resources to fill
to
in.
do it. Do you know?
But you've got to do it, and they've done a good job with positional players in the last 10 years. They have, right?
That's right.
They've had a look at the outfield, look at shortstop, look at third base. I mean,
Rafi.
but now you look at the pitching staff. Where are the
Yeah.
young studs coming up in the pitching staff? There's none. The last one was Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes, right?
I have hopes that they won't re-sign him, that he'll walk.
Right. But that's my point. Is when you get to talk about player development, you're really talking about pitching development, because they've done okay on that positional side.
Yeah. Hey, a tip of the cap to the kids at King Philip. The girls' soccer team has a perfect 18-0
Wow.
record, and in a national poll by USA Today,
Yeah.
third nationwide.
Third nationwide KP girls?
Yep.
Wow, that's
And-
extraordinary.
This year, their record on plus minus on goals, 76-3.
Wow. 76-3.
Yeah.
That's pretty dominant.
How about that? And the King Philip lads are number 7. Seventh in the state. They're
For soccer or
football.
football?
and they are 6-1, and they're playing Friday night. Which, if I'm any judge of Fridays, that's tomorrow.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. This is Wednesday. Well, I've
But
really
it's coming
got.
soon, Bill.
I'm working on a 1947 calendar. I'm too cheap to buy a new one. But anyway, they're playing Barnstable on the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
7
At the
o'clock.
stadium?
At King Philip.
At King Philip.
7 o'clock.
I won't be around,
I
unfortunately.
predict there'll be a good crowd over there.
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too.
Yeah.
Lee has done a great job coaching, and I don't know who his assistants are, but the whole bunch of them have done a good job. Real good
Good
job.
for them.
Bill James, age 70, has been let go by the Red Sox.
Has he?
After 17 years, he'll be remembered as the father of sabermetrics.
Yeah, he really was.
And little or nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a windbag.
Yeah.
His big thing was projecting what a guy's going to hit
Yeah.
the next year.
But
just crunched
he
some
was out in
numbers.
front of this wave.
Yeah, he was.
He really was.
So
And-
he should be blamed for this madness. Well, there was a big scrimmage at the State House over the proposed youth tackle football ban.
yeah, I heard about that.
State House hearing, the Mass Legislature, of all the bodies that should or could be considered wise enough to discuss this, they're not one of them,
Right.
the Mass Legislature. They couldn't find their butts with both hands. But they're going to pass judgment on this or pass laws? I can really see them coming up with a
Yeah, this-
Solomon-like
Yeah,
decision.
this should be,
All right.
the wisdom will be overflowing, no doubt.
Yeah. And all of that, they can ignore the state police, the RMV, impeded driving, the state of mass transportation, congestion, the disrepair of the roads, the drug scourge, homelessness.
Yeah.
Let's hone in on tackle football,
Eliminating tackle football.
among kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I may be one of the few fans. No, I'm not going to say that. What did you think of the Browns in the Patriots game? Baker Mayfield, particularly.
I didn't think he played very well. You know, he's, and I think his comments after the game probably ticked off his teammates. So I think he's in danger of losing his team. He's got a big mouth
And
for somebody that hasn't really done anything.
Sam Donald with the
Yeah.
Jets.
Yeah. How about you do something before you run your mouth?
Sam Donald was lost.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have done this to him and he wouldn't have blinked.
Belichick has played with him
Oh.
all night long.
He strummed him like a guitar.
That was unbelievable.
Now, Mayfield, I think he's got a great arm.
Yeah.
I mean, he could throw that football through a brick wall.
Yeah.
Um,
He's got a chance to be great, but
And
why
he
don't you
could-
shut up and
yeah.
do it first?
he can scramble.
Yeah.
He's strong. He's got a lot of guts. He hangs in there before he throws the ball. He's got the equipment, but not much going on up here.
Yeah, and my analogy is Cam Newton, right? Cam Newton who stood up, I'm Superman.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you win something first before you declare yourself to be Superman?
I think Cam can skate this year.
Yeah, he's not getting looks like he's not getting his starting job back.
And who will pick him up?
Well, somebody will pick him up.
You think?
Yeah, there's quarterback needy teams.
Ah.
And the best thing for him might be a change of scenery and a fresh start.
Well, back as a young man, he could really rumble when he brought the ball down. He
Yeah.
could run.
Great college player.
And then he
Great college
he
player.
lost his way.
Yeah, well, I just think he got a little full of himself.
Yeah.
I really do. And I don't think he's well coached.
Well, now there you go.
I don't think he's well coached.
I'll tell you what. You can take these three guys we just talked about, Sam, Baker, and what's his face, and
Darnold, yeah.
you could take the three of them, Newton, Donald, and Mayfield, and put them on the Patriots.
Yeah.
They'd get their butts squared away,
Might take a little bit, but they would. They absolutely would.
or they're taking a hike.
Right.
it's the Patriot way. I'm absolutely convinced the Patriot way works.
Yeah, there's no question.
Really and truly works.
Look at all those titles.
Yeah.
So interesting in the news this week that Bill opened the door to coaching into his 70s, because previously he had said he would not coach into his 70s, and now he's changing his tune.
Well, yeah, because Tom Brady said he may play into his 50s.
But, you know, I firmly believe, I think Bill, and it sounds crazy, but I think Bill wants Brady to go. I think he wants to show that he can win without Tom Brady.
He is not
And
a one-trick pony.
I don't think he wants his legacy attached to Brady forever. That it was Belichick and Brady, not Belichick and Brady. And
I think he'd like the challenge.
I think he would love the challenge
of growing a new quarterback.
and I think he thinks he can do it because of the system, right? And hey, when Brady got hurt, they stuck Matt Castle in there and went 11-5.
Yeah.
And because of just being an odd year, they didn't make the playoffs. It was probably the last time an 11-5 team
Brady
didn't make
was
the playoffs.
suspended for 4 games, then put Jacoby Ellsbury in there.
Yeah.
And Jacoby Ellsbury.
Brissett, yeah.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
And
So-
by the way, Jacoby Brissett is growing up to be
He
quite
is
a
growing
quarterback.
up to be a good quarterback.
There's more development is needed there. But he's big, he's strong. I'm so impressed with him. I love him.
So those are the last 2 major quarterback picks. You know, it looks like Bill hit, right? He hit with Garoppolo, and he hit with Brissett. And so you sit there and say, well, what about Stidham?
He's a work in
What about
progress.
Stidham?
He's got the
Who
arm.
knows, you know?
No doubt about it.
And he says all the right things. He appears to be a Patriot type mentality. You know, I think Brady's probably here next year, and then I think that's it. So
I wouldn't be surprised if they won the Super Bowl if Tom said, this is the time to go.
yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by
I
that
wouldn't be
either.
shocked
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And then got his feet wet a little bit and decided to run for president of the U.S. I'm voting for him.
Yeah. Well, he's going to obviously work the TB12 brand, right? Which is really interesting because you've heard some speculation that the Chargers might be interested in him. And from a business perspective, if he's going to move on from playing to build a TB12 empire, LA would be the perfect place to go. They're into all that stuff out there. You get a West Coast presence. I mean, he's kind of got an East Coast presence.
He's from the West Coast.
But he's from out there. You got the whole Hollywood scene. I mean, yeah.
Listen, the world is his oyster.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can do as he damn well pleases. And he's got Cream Puff, the bride,
Yeah.
and she's a money-making machine.
Pulling down $50 million a year, easy.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's time for me to embarrass you.
Okay.
In 1943, when many NFL players went in the service in World War II, which 2 teams' combined forces merged temporarily to become a team called the Steagles?
Wow. The Steagles. The Steelers and the Eagles.
That's
huh?
right.
Yes.
Good work. And the
So they
Steelers-
combined during the war years?
Oh, just this one, 43.
Oh, 43.
It was a last-minute decision. They ran out of players.
Yeah.
So then the following year, they combined with the Chicago Cardinals, and they became the Cod Pit.
The Card Pit.
Ah,
Huh.
well,
So you gleaned that out of that book?
Yeah.
I take it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was some.
I wasn't aware of that. I mean, I can't believe I've never heard that before. But
Fascinating stuff.
I've never heard that before.
What does Dabo Swinney's given name? He's the coach of Clemson.
Yeah, he is. He's a
football.
good college coach.
His record is 123-30.
Yeah. Well, it helps when you get your pick of the talent every year. But
Yeah.
I have no idea.
William Christopher Swinney.
Yeah.
I got one more question here for you. In the 1989 season, Joe Montana had the highest rating ever by a quarterback. Whose record did he beat? Sammy Baugh, Dan Marino, Joe Namath, or Milt Plum?
Milt Plum.
Yep.
Had to be Milt Plum.
Cleveland Browns.
Had to be Milt
The
Plum.
Cleveland Browns of 1960.
Wow.
And then where did they go?
Huh?
Where did the Browns go?
To Baltimore.
That's right. All right. Very good.
Yeah, became the Ravens.
Yep. Now we have new kicker in Foxborough.
do.
Nugent is gone. Falk
do.
is in.
Bring in another one.
Do you know the problem with Nugent? No leg strength. I mean, his stuff went up and
He made some terrible kicks.
He did.
He really did.
and I wonder if the holder has got a
It,
little
it
something
could be.
to do with it.
It could very well be.
You look at these other teams, and you look at guys bombing that thing right
Yeah.
through the center of the uprights. I mean,
Yeah.
fastballs.
He's making Gostkowski look good.
He really is.
So,
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's probably a fairly positive move. Rookie linebacker Chase Winovich was fined $7,017 for throwing a football into the stands after his first career touchdown.
he got fined for that?
Yep,
The No Fun League strikes again.
that's it. And pretty much everything on social media, I'm paraphrasing, last week was supportive of former NHL tough guy Donald Brasher working at a Tim Hortons.
Huh.
But if anyone felt the need to mock Brasher for trying to make ends meet with an honest day's work, they should have to do it to his face.
Yeah, they should.
He was one tough son of a
Tough
gun.
dude, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And the Bruins are off to a 9-1-2 start.
Yeah, pretty good.
Not bad.
Pasternak has been unbelievable.
Unconscious.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
basically scoring every game. Yeah. Goal a game.
Hard to believe. Now, there's a couple of things going on in hockey a couple of throwaways here, but nonetheless, Tyler Seguin re-signed during the offseason an 8-year extension at $9.85 million a year.
Too much.
Not worth it.
No.
And Jamie Benn, who plays for Dallas.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah. He's got 6 years left at $9.5 million.
Wow.
And both of them, their performances are tailing off. Yeah, it's so dangerous.
if you're Dallas and you got Sagan, why do you give him that contract? I mean, you're so afraid to put him on the market that you're convinced somebody else is going to give him
More than
that contract.
Yeah. Baloney. Ain't going to happen.
Who would do that?
I don't know.
I think teams, in general, need to call the bluff more often. I think they're their own worst enemy in driving up costs.
That's right.
Because now players turn around and say, well, Tyler Seguin got 8 years at $9 million. So
That's the market.
Discussion starts there.
That's right.
And they didn't have to do it.
The only team I would think of would be somebody that's 5 or 10 points out of first place and need a real oomph to get in the Stanley Cup playoffs and be
maybe.
successful and have the room financially to do it.
Maybe.
Because he's instant offense.
Yeah.
But no defense.
No defense.
No, doesn't take face-offs well.
And,
but-
a lot of stories about him, right?
That's
So,
right, yeah.
I mean,
Off the ice, he's
off the
a
ice,
hot
he
ticket.
has a reputation.
Yeah. So, but you're absolutely right. Now, talking about that, Billy Guerin, good hockey player,
Yeah.
is now the general manager at the Minnesota Wild. Huh. He is saddled. They fired Paul Fenton, who was, I think, BC, I think he played. But he's inherited Eric Stahl, who has 1 assist and a -9. so far. Zach Parisi is 35, and Ryan Sutter is 34. He's got 6 more years of Parisi. He'll be
6
paying
more
him-
years?
Yeah, they'll be paying him until he's 41.
Oh my goodness.
And Sutter, has
That's ridiculous.
6 more years.
6 more years.
They both have 6 more years because they signed them at exactly the same time.
Right.
Yeah. 7.5 mil a year. Unbelievable. And they got him for 9 more years and 6 more years. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
Yeah. See, I think what teams don't get in every sport is that if you want to keep your payroll under control, you want more free agents, not less. You want everybody being a free agent, and then let the market truly settle to the point where everybody gets signed, and now you have 1 or 2 kind of really good players pop up, and so their prices get bid up to 8 years at $9 million.
Yeah.
You know? No, you don't need 1 or 2 guys. You need 30 or 40 of those guys out in the market every year. And then if you don't get Sagan, no problem. We're going to go over and talk to this guy. And if we can't get him, we're going to talk to this guy. And we're not going to have to commit 8 years at $9 million.
When a guy is 30, you can't give him an 8-year contract
Right.
at $9 million a year. I mean,
the best
doesn't
thing you
make
could do
sense.
is have everybody a free agent every year.
Have a turnover. Yeah.
You know, it's just we got a new league. We're not giving out multi-year contracts. They're 1-year contracts
Yep.
for everybody.
Yep.
Because that's essentially what happens in Foxborough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It may say it's a 2 or 3 year contract, but it ain't a 2 or 3 year contract. It's a 1-year contract, and if you don't perform, guess what? You're gone.
And not only that, but guess what? When you turn 30,
Yeah.
well, we'll move you right along.
Right.
We'll send you out to San Diego for a number 3 draft choice.
And that's why there's 6 championships up on that wall down there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, because they know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah. Steve Adazio is struggling along at Boston College with a 4-4 record.
Yeah.
And he is ranked 55th in the country in salary, making $2.6 million.
2.6.
And rumored to be in line for the Rutgers job.
Oh, I hear there's a lot of interest in that Rutgers job.
Yeah. Yep. The UMass coach, Walt Bell, makes $635,000 a year. I'm not sure whether UMass has won a game yet this year.
Yeah. Well, he's hoping
Yeah, his.
he's got to start somewhere, right? For a
until-
paltry $600K
Yeah. Yeah.
for a college coach.
Beginner. Phillies hired Joe Girardi
Girardi, yeah.
to replace Gabe Kapler. Now,
Not
I
a
think
bad
that's
hire.
a great move.
I think that's a good hire.
I like Joe Girardi.
Yeah.
He calls it like it is. He's a baseball guy.
Yeah.
I don't know about Kapler. He didn't seem to meld in with the guys. or
There's
something.
interest in Kapler elsewhere, I hear.
Really?
Kapler's going to have a job next year,
Oh.
it sounds like.
A consultant, Van Wagener Sports and Entertainment, said that if the Fenway Park ever were to sell naming rights, they would be worth $19.8 million to $21.8 million a year.
Yeah. So the Coca-Cola Fenway Park?
I think that Coca-Cola would lose the Fenway. Coca-Cola Park,
Coca-Cola Park. Yeah.
20 mil a year.
Yeah. But it doesn't, you can call it anything you want. For people here, it's still the Garden.
I know.
It's not the
That's
Fleet
right.
Center, it's the Garden.
That's right.
And it's going to always be Fenway. You can sell naming rights, you can call it anything you want. When we talk about it,
Yep.
it's going to be Fenway. Period.
Madison Square Garden, 22 million to 24 million.
Wow.
Yankee Stadium, 27 million to 29 million. And among already named MLB ballparks, the Mets City Field has the biggest deal, $400 million over 22 years. That works out to $18.1 million a year.
Wow.
How about those apples, huh?
I'm surprised they sold the rights for that long.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, you get that money to work with.
Well, if you're getting the money up
Yes,
front,
if you get the money up front, yeah. Yeah, if you're going to have that length, you need the money up front.
Yeah, a
you
lot
don't
of
need
it,
it
yeah.
spoon-fed in.
Yeah.
And David Ross picked up the job with the Cubbies.
Saw that.
Yeah,
He's a Theo guy.
yeah. Some interesting other stuff. Commissioner Rob Manfred said Major League Baseball will look into a politicized tweet by umpire Rob Drake that references a rifle and critics of President Trump. Drake 50 posted this message to Twitter. I will be buying an AR-15 tomorrow because if you impeach my president this way, you'll have another civil war.
That was an umpire?
Yeah. Rob Drake.
You know, I feel that's freedom of speech, personally.
Yep.
You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. Does he have a right to say it? I believe he does.
Probably does, but that is certainly a veiled threat.
It is a veiled threat,
Yeah.
but it's not a specific threat.
But if I were the commissioner of baseball, I
Now,
would be looking
the
at
AR-15 thing is a little...
what is best for my business,
Yeah.
and he would be packing.
Yeah,
Not the AR-15 either.
yeah.
And I'm a gun guy. Joe West,
Yeah.
one of the most entertaining
God.
umpires of all times, sued former catcher Paul DeLoduca, accusing him of defamation for comments on a podcast that described West trading an expanded strike zone for the right to drive a pitcher's classic car.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Has the world gone mad?
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. Joe doesn't know where the strike zone is half the time anyway.
Joe is so over the hill.
Yeah.
I mean,
But boy, I'll tell you what, there's no doubt he's in charge when he's on the field.
yeah, but I cringe when I see Joe West behind the plate.
Yeah, anything down low or
Yeah.
wide. Up and
Yeah.
down, I think he can do, but
It's time, Joe.
yeah, you know what? Go back to your
Umpire term limits.
Go back to your other off-season gig, and that is his band.
Yeah,
He has a country and western singing group.
that's right. I've heard that.
Now, folks, we have a newspaper article here that says Crane apologizes to SI reporter. I want to make this clear that it's not me that's apologizing. It's Jim Crane, the owner of the Houston Astros. His general manager, Brandon Taubman, went out of his mind screaming at female reporters the other night and said some things that were way off the reservation. And he's gone.
Yeah.
And Crane has apologized. Crane didn't, at first blush, Crane didn't think there was really much wrong with that. Then he came around.
Yeah. All right, we're down to 2 minutes.
2 minutes, eh?
You know what I'd like to do is
Go ahead.
Just go ahead and talk about
Yes,
these. You
let's
know,
do that. We'll talk about our stuff afterwards.
I have my neighbor is Ernie Alex. For
Yep.
people who live in Norfolk, Ernie's a well-known figure, a great guy, great neighbor. And I saw him the other week, and he gave me an insight into one of his collections. And he is a collector of a lot of cool things. And for those who know him or don't know him, he's also incredibly talented at restoring cars and motorcycles, and he's done some
Model cars, too.
model cars. Yeah, just amazing. But he brought these over for us to show on the show, and these are actually uniform emblems from the 40s and 50s and maybe into the early 60s. Were made by a gentleman in Rhode Island whose name slips my mind, but really kind of an iconic thing. And he offered us to show them some of the old ones, the old Red Sox emblem from the 50s as an example. And for those Bruins fans out there who don't realize that back then that the bear was actually the logo of the team, not the spoke bee. And the Boston Braves. Now, if we have younger audiences, they may not even realize the Braves ever played in Boston.
Down
because
on
they
Com Ave.
went to Milwaukee and then on their way to Atlanta.
Yep.
But look at that. Boston Braves, and really just an amazing collection. Detroit Red Wings,
Yep.
you know, which has changed since the day, but really interesting. And the New York Giants and the Brooklyn Dodgers. So really an amazing collection. I thank Ernie for sharing it with us so that we could put it on our show.
Yeah.
And
I think those things are fabulous.
they're unbelievable.
Ah.
They're amazing.
The Brooklyn Dodgers, and you don't see stuff like that.
No, you don't. Brooklyn Dodgers and
among
New York
collectors,
Giants.
yeah.
Yeah, very collectible, and one of Ernie's several collections. But thank you, Ernie, for sharing with
Ernie,
us.
that was great.
Yeah.
Add a little class to
Add
the
a little
program.
class to the show. That's right.
Well, suppose we're down to...
We're up to wrap up.
Are we up to wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll let that go. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our rambling, and we'll ramble again in a couple
see you
of
next
weeks.
time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take care.